Hey guys, Jeff here with episode number 50 of Going Direct. This is a milestone for us, so thank you for allowing us to do the show. We have a very special guest today. This is David Porter, who is our product development director for the basketball team and a couple of other teams.
Correct.
Okay, all right, did I get that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, because the brand managers and the product development team is kind of a complex situation, so I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit more, but welcome to the show, David.
Wow, thanks for having me. It's quite an honor.
Is this your first time on Going Direct?
It's been a long time since it's my first time on Going Direct. We used to do, back in the olden days, we used to do box breaks all the time.
Right, the Unwrapped.
I did Unwrapped a bunch, but I haven't been on this one yet, so this is quite an honor.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you're a busy guy, so I thank you for sparing some of your time. But okay, so you are product development director. What does that role entail?
Sure. Well, the product development team has about 23 people on it, and we do.
Wow.
We produce all the products that Panini has, between us, and we divide the programs up into sports, and we have guys that are pretty dedicated to the sports they work on. Like we have a football team, of course, and a basketball team, and a baseball team, and a UFC team, and a WWE team, which is the same person on the UFC team. Okay. Lucas does the UFC and the WWE, and he also does some basketball work too. So he stays very busy. So several guys wear several hats, and then we like with Tim Trout, who's also a director, he has several things too. He has the collegiate stuff, and he has NASCAR and soccer and baseball and NFTs are all under him. And then Rob Springs is the third director, and he does football.
Got it.
So
okay.
We're kind of split apart like that, but we all work together. Everybody sets in each other's whiteboards. We help each other with sets. Of course, we share a lot of the same brands.
Right.
So we have to, stay true to our brand tenets and make sure that the teams are kind of building them the same. So when collectors are opening Prism or National Treasures or Flawless, they kind of know what they're supposed to expect and get. And, there's not a lot of variation other than players in the sets usually.
I'm happy you mentioned that because I've wondered before, and I'm sure the collectors who are watching wondered as well. But so like when you have a set that let's say your basketball set has a kaboom, then the football version of that same set also has a kaboom or may not have a kaboom. So that's all decided in a group setting with multiple directors.
Usually, yes.
Okay.
I mean, and we don't like with the inserts like kaboom. Like it might be in 3 different sets. Football may have it in I can't remember what they may have it in one of their low end sets. We have it in I think Court Kings in basketball, and in baseball might have it in. They might do Court Kings, but they might do something else, and they'll use kaboom there. So it's not always in exactly the same sets. Like Color Blast is a perfect example in all the sports except basketball. Color Blast is in Prism. Right. It's in our Spectrum.
Yes.
So I mean that's we always have the set somewhere, but they're not always in the same spot.
Well, and soccer has the black Color Blast in Obsidian too. So it is a complex situation.
It is, and we do them a little different. We're not exactly the same in every sport, but we try to stay true to most of the. I mean, you're going to always be able to build rainbow parallels in all of our Optichrome stuff, no matter what the sport is, and it's gonna have. You're always going to find probably the top rookie card for each person in the National Treasure set.
Sure.
It's going to have those kind of brand tenets behind each thing, and the directors and the teams are very good about making sure that those brands and those brand tenets stay pretty true.
Gotcha.
You asked about what I do.
Yes.
What I do is I'm fortunate enough that I have 5 guys, 6 when you count Lucas, on the basketball team that are just basketball nerds, and they're both nerds in the fact that they love basketball, and they're huge collectors. All of them have been big time collectors their whole life, and so they're very passionate about what they do and take everything very seriously. They're always looking for new hooks, and what they like to follow is they like to build sets for what they would purchase. If they were going to go out and buy cards, this is what they would buy and why. And that's kind of the formula they follow to build these sets.
I think that is such a huge advantage, and it's something coming from the collector side of things that I'd always hoped was the case, but being on now the manufacturer side and being able to verify that in fact all the people on our product development teams are collectors themselves. They have the collector in mind when they're building a set. Like, what would I want? What would friends like I want? And let's put all of that love and passion into creating these great sets.
Exactly right. And that's really kind of one of the first and foremost things that we have when we start to build the programs is what do we want to find in here? What would we think we would be looking for if we were going to go out and buy, if we're doing a new program like photogenic this year was new for basketball.
I love photogenic.
We thought, what do we want to find? We want to find some cool photography in this set. We want to make it a photography-driven set, but what else do we need in it to make it to be like, wow, I really want to go buy that? And that's kind of where we would start with our thinking, and then we start throwing stuff on the whiteboard, and everybody starts looking at it and tweaking it and saying, well, let's try this, or what if we add this? And we kind of just go crazy till we've got something we think, hey, we can do that, and it's something that everybody above us let us do because we can afford it. So, I mean, it's really that's the gist of how we build the program.
Do those whiteboard sessions ever get intense?
Well, very much so.
Is everybody very opinionated in those
Usually,
discussions?
sometimes they're bloody, sometimes they're not. No,
especially the UFC ones.
The UFC ones, you've got to have some. Lucas especially gets in and does some of his patented spin kicks and stuff. It's there are some heated debates sometimes, and which is all good because it makes better products.
Well, and if you're passionate about something, you truly care. So these decisions I'm sure they aren't just decided on lightly. Everybody has to really have their heart in it. So that's
exactly right.
That's what you want, though. You don't want people who are, kind of apathetic and just ho-hum about the decisions they're making. You want them to be really committed. So that's all good information.
We want everybody bought into it.
Right.
When we leave the whiteboards, everybody usually is.
So I'm going to take us on a quick tangent, if you will indulge me.
Sure.
You and I share the same hometown.
We sure do.
In the great state of Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, which is the capital. In case you've never heard of Topeka, Kansas, well, you heard about it during geography class, at least.
You had to name it on your flashcards
in
elementary school.
Gosh, I miss flashcards. I learned a lot in school based on flashcards. Well, do you make it back to Topeka much?
I've been back. I was back to Topeka maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and the sole reason is we have friends that live in Kansas City.
Okay.
And my parents lived there forever. They've long since been deceased, so I used to go back a lot more, of course, when they were alive.
Right, I understand.
To go back, but we were going back to Kansas City to see our friends, and we decided just to take 2 of my sons were with us, and we thought we'll drive through there and kind of show them where we grew up. So we kind of did a quick tour of Topeka, and they looked at it.
Which takes about 5 minutes.
Which takes about 5 minutes. They all grew up in between Dallas and Fort Worth here, so they're looking at a town of 180,000 people, just going, well, where's the rest of it? Well, no, that's all of it. But look, it's got the Capitol.
There you go. The Capitol had a makeover recently.
It did.
So it looks great.
It did. I lived there when the Capitol got hit by a car in the 1966 tornado and had a big dent in the very top of it. Yeah.
The tornado that went over Burnett's Mound.
Went over Burnett's Mound.
And hit Washburn.
Hit Washburn, hit White Lakes Mall.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you guys have ever, if you grew up outside of Topeka or anywhere in Topeka, you know these landmarks we're talking about. But that is so wild because my wife is from Dallas, born and raised, and so when we go up to visit my folks who still live in Topeka, they lived down here for a while and then they transferred back when they retired. She's always amazed that you can go anywhere in town in 10 minutes, like literally get across the city and see everything in 10 minutes. And every time we go back, I just have to drive through all the old stomping grounds.
Sure.
There's so many great memories there.
Yeah, I rode my bike all over the south part of Topeka. We lived there till I was 15.
Okay, how did you move to Texas then?
Well, I actually moved to Oklahoma.
You did? Okay.
My dad was transferred when I was 15, between my 9th and 10th grade year.
Okay, got it.
And so we moved to Shawnee, Oklahoma, and I went to the rest of high school there and then went to college at OBU in Shawnee.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. And then, did you move to Texas for this job?
I moved for Texas when I went to work for Beckett.
Okay.
So I worked at Beckett for 4 years before I started with Donruss in 2003. So I've been here since 2003.
Okay, gotcha. Gosh, there's a lot of people in the building, as you guys, we've talked about this before, who have spent some time at Beckett.
Certainly.
There's a lot of
people on the product development team that have spent a lot of time, like Keith Hauer and Tim Trout, Tim Yoder. I'm leaving some guys out too that have spent decades at Beckett running teams and putting out magazines and tracking the market, and have seen almost everything there is to see as far as collection wise, and what's collectible and what's been built and what hasn't been built. So very, very valuable experience.
That's one of the beauties of people that have spent some time at Beckett, is they do a really good job of tracking market. That you have to if you're going to be pricing things out, but you pick up on a lot of trends, and you pick up on just buying habits and all of that stuff, which is interesting factors to consider when you're building a set, or
it sure is
figuring out where the interest is in cards. But so you were at Panini when it was Donruss. So how long, if we're including our time at Donruss, how long have you been here?
19 years.
Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Almost 2 decades.
Almost 2 decades.
That's amazing. Well, what is one of the craziest things you've seen at Panini? Are we able to say?
Craziest things as far as people or sets, or
it could be anything. Like I would be very curious to know what it was like for you, since it's recent. What the pandemic was like for you, having seen the swing in the hobby probably in the early 90s. Were you involved in cards in the early 90s?
Oh yes,
you were. Okay. So you saw that kind of uptick, and then this most recent one.
This most recent one's definitely different than the one from the 90s. It was huge, but it wasn't nearly as intense.
Okay.
The one since about 2000, we saw it starting in late 2017, early part of 2018. It involved a group. I feel like a group of people that have never really been in the card industry. I think the 90s was a bunch of collectors that kind of just joined and collected for a little bit, and then the baseball strike and the downturn of the economy, all that kind of chased them away. The people that showed up in 2017 and 18 are here for the long run, I think, and they're going to be here for a long time, and they're kind of totally bought in. And you kind of saw it start with things like case breaking and box breaking, and kind of grow from there. And stuff like that that was never a thing until about that time. And so it's been kind of a totally different infusion of people from the 80s and 90s.
Got it.
There was a lot of collectors and a lot of people that did it. I mean, it's a lot different too. There was no internet back then, so
that's true.
It was a lot harder to do. Yeah, you had a lot more in-person stuff, and a lot more trips to the card shop, and a lot more card shows maybe to attend back then.
Right.
But now you have everything you need at your fingertips. You can complete almost any set you're looking to complete. All you need is money.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit different animal, but I think this one has the opportunity and the ability to stick around a lot longer and be a lot more significant and sustainable.
So big picture, how have things changed at Panini since you've been here?
How they've changed at Panini since I've been here? Well, first off, just the number of releases has changed quite a bit, and the number of sports that we do. And when we started, we did football and baseball. We didn't do basketball.
Wow.
When I started at Donruss, we had a football license and a baseball license. We didn't do any basketball. And so we had a football team and a football team and a baseball team that did everything. I started as an assistant brand manager in baseball.
Okay.
I collected cards since I was 10 years old. And so I never thought, I never dreamed I'd be working in the industry.
Neither
when I was going to school and in college, they didn't have jobs like this.
Right.
These weren't careers you could even pursue. And you just got out and stayed in the industry, kept collecting, had a card shop for a couple of years, got a job at Beckett, which I thought, man, this is amazing. And then
you made it.
I thought, I wonder how smart these people are. And you get there and you go, oh my gosh, these guys know everything and I don't know anything. So you spend all your time trying to catch all these other guys that are experts and
Yes.
have seen everything, and trying to catch up with them in knowledge. And I was fortunate enough to get hired on at Donruss after about 4 years at Beckett, and have been there ever since, and have just stayed on the product development team the whole time, and
Amazing.
just learned.
It is funny, you said this perfectly, but you come into a company like Beckett or Panini and as a lifelong collector, and you think you've seen it all and you know all the ins and outs, and it's literally like you are a freshman coming in.
Exactly.
And you know next to nothing compared to the next level of people in the hobby who are these experts who know the ins and outs of every set from a certain manufacturer, and just it is incredible the knowledge that's in this building, and it blows me away every day, and I learn constantly here.
Sure.
But
it is, and you've like I guess kind of an analogy would be, as I grew up as a baseball player, went to college on a full baseball scholarship.
Oh, cool.
Played, and so I always thought, wow, major league pitching, I hear that's pretty hard to hit. And then you see somebody that's a major league pitcher and you go, no, that's impossible.
Yeah, right.
So you get here and you think, man, I heard those guys know a lot about it, and you get here and you think, wow, they know more than I could ever learn. But you just like anything else, you keep working and you keep practicing and you keep learning and you keep just listening and participating, and pretty soon you're in there just up to speed and going. And
Yes.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, the great Daniel Cormier, speaking of UFC, once said, there are levels to this game, and you can apply that to so many different industries, but certainly to this one, as far as the knowledge goes.
Right.
So what are you most passionate about when it comes to the hobby?
I'm most passionate about it's changed for me because I've kind of put my collector hat to the side a little bit. I still collect, I still
Okay.
work on my sets, but now I'm more concerned about making sure that when people buy Panini stuff, first they leave. They're happy they've got it and they have a good time opening it, but they also leave understanding that, okay, there's some value here. I understand where it is, and that it's something that they feel like, I can put this away and come back to it in 2 or 3 years, and it's going to have grown. It's not something I feel like I've got to go out, oh man, I've got 2 weeks to flip this before
Right.
before all the value goes away. So to me, that's kind of been the thing that I'm most passionate about, is trying to make sure that our products and our releases reflect that, in the fact that we want people to feel comfortable more investing in it and enjoying it, and not worrying so much about, oh man, I've got to get all this stuff on eBay in the next 2 hours to beat everybody else to it.
Yeah.
I think that's where I would put it now. And then like once or twice a year at the National or someplace where there's a lot of stuff, we get to put our collector's hats on for an afternoon maybe and go out and shop and look. And
I've seen this firsthand. They do rotations, so the product development team, they can each break off for like an hour or so and go look at cards and shop. Like, they legitimate card guys. They aren't just doing this, as a
and
profession.
we have our want lists and exactly what we're looking for, and we've thought about it for a long time. In some cases, saved money all year to get it, and it's important, and I think it's important that everybody that works here retains that, because it's kind of the essence of what we're doing. So I mean, that's where you're going to build all your good stuff.
Well, David, I hate to break it to you, but Panini basketball cards are pretty darn awesome.
Well,
and I feel like a lot of people love them,
Thank you.
including myself, and are excited about every release. So if you're most passionate about making a product that people love and they look forward to and they hang on to, I think you're doing it right.
Well, thank you.
Something's going well.
Thank you. We work really hard at it, and we're always trying to change it up to where it's not the exact same product line every year. We always try to introduce a couple new programs and give a different twists and different hooks in the program maybe, and we'll continue to do that. We get asked a lot about, can you build more high-end stuff? And we could, but quite frankly, we think we'd like to build the lower end stuff first, because it's more of a challenge. I mean, anybody can go get 10 autographs and put them in a box and go, look what that's worth. you know.
Right.
But the low end stuff is where your passion shows, because you got to be creative. You've got to get down and you've got to think of new things to build, and new short print inserts or new parallels that are going to catch on and deliver value, and people are going to want to chase and get excited about finding. So I mean, we listen, and you know, of course, we're always up to build new high end programs, and it's what we do, and we're supposed to do it. But I think most people are going to find that they get more out of building just the regular lower price point than, I mean, any more lower price.
Because it's more of a challenge.
Well, lower price point doesn't even hardly exist anymore.
That's true. That's all relative.
Yeah. When I started, it was a dime a pack. You know, so but that was 50 years ago. So I mean, you know, there's been a lot of change in it, but it's the same thing, and it's the same. People collect for the same reasons that they've always collected.
So one of my favorite new products that we've introduced since I've been here was Photogenic.
Okay.
Do we think Photogenic is going to stick around?
Yeah.
Like, do you think there'll be another?
We'll do that next year.
Good. I'm really excited. Yep. I love that. That was one of those things where you never know, and it was an online exclusive, so you know, everything went out through the Panini Direct store, but it was a little bit quiet at first, and then it's like people started opening it, and I started hearing more about it. People loved the pictures that we were posting just of cards, and then it took like a month, and then I started hearing everybody was like, do you guys have more of this? Are you going to put more out in the store? I'm like, no, we had an initial offering. Now it's kind of secondary market product. But that really caught on.
And that's old school. That's the old school way of people used to find out about cards. Now with case breaking and with just the availability of the internet to show everything immediately, you can pretty much know in an hour or two what people think of a program.
But you're right. It took some time for it
that took some time for that to go out and for people to actually sit and open it and digest it and go, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. Yeah, I like this. I'd like to get some more of this. And next year they'll have an opportunity.
Awesome. That's great news. And I wanted to say, I think it was Scotty Prusha that told me this early on, but he told me, and I know I've mentioned this on the show at least once before, but he said it is a literal miracle any product ever makes it to collectors with everything it has to go through in order to be completed and packed out. And I know you know this as well as anybody, but it is so much goes into these products to get them to you guys and for it to be special and a fun box to open. And it is so incredible. I mean, you think a lot of these have to touch the athlete first before it even gets in the product, and those are busy people too. So, my gosh, it is
a little inside baseball or basketball on that if you want. We build it takes us about 9 months. To build each program, so we'll start. You know,
is that from conception or what is the beginning of the 9 months? That's from about
when we finish our initial work on the documents to start the program. It's about 9 months after that. And if it's on a specialized substrate, or if it has on-card autos, take it to 11 or 12 months. So some of the programs we work on take us a year to get ready to go, and that's if all the autographs get back on time. So there's just so many different components, parts, things that have to happen. You know, for these sets to become what they are. Scotty's right. It's amazing that any of them ever get out the way they were supposed to look originally, but it's also satisfying to understand that most of them do. And you know, most of the stuff that we work on ends up pretty close to what our original thoughts were and original concept of the program was. So I mean, kudos to everybody in the building, because it's a bunch of people from the PDT team to the design team to the production team to the acquisitions team to the pre-press team, to everybody that works here that is committed to making sure that they stick to the concept, and it works.
It's like a beautiful orchestra of all these people doing what they do.
It's beautiful
really well. Yes, good point.
Well, it's not so beautiful, but most of the time it is a pretty cool place to work. You mentioned a term that I wanted to bring up, substrate. Okay, can you tell the audience what substrate is? I learned what substrate was probably a couple months ago, but I wasn't sure, and I'd heard this term thrown around the offices a little bit. What does that refer to? Substrate is just what that individual card is printed on. Like there's going to be several products you're going to get. Everything in the optic box here is on a substrate called Optichrome.
Okay.
And the Optichrome substrate has different versions to it that have different patterns.
Okay.
And so it may be this pattern on the Optichrome substrate, or it may be this pattern on the Optichrome substrate, or it could be like sometimes in other products you may get a card that's clear. And it's like on plastic. Well, totally different substrate.
So,
or if you get like a hoops base card, that's just on what they call C2S, the substrate C2S.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. It's just called that for 19 years, and everybody knows what that is.
Sure.
It's just our basic base substrate. And so substrate just determines what the card's going to be manufactured out of and printed on.
Okay. So that, like a tiger stripe parallel versus a gold parallel, those are not different substrates.
Those are different substrates.
Oh, they are. They're
different substrates because you can do substrates not only with paper but with color.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
with ink.
Okay.
Or with foil.
Got it.
So you can put like sometimes you can just do totally white C2S cards that have different foils on them. Like the out of 10 maybe have a gold foil, and the base may have silver foil, or the base may have bronze foil.
Gosh.
So there's lots of different ways, and it's a good thing there is because we need a lot of them to make these different substrates, which makes all these cool parallels.
Right.
So that's it. And I mean, those are all things that between the PDT team and the design team we come up with. And our design team is excellent with suggestions and thoughts and concepts. And
how do you guys come up with the different parallels that are going to be included in a set?
Well, we kind of know how much value we're looking to put in the set and what it's going to take, and depending on what our SRP is and what we're hoping the SRP is, we know we're going to have to deliver value to meet that SRP. And so, we may think, well, we're going to need, like in the case of Flawless, well, we can't have any cards numbered over 25,
right,
and meet that SRP. Or Eminence, they've got to be numbered to 10 or less to meet that SRP. Whereas, Prism, you don't have to number them sometimes. You can make unnumbered ones, or you can make, you'll have the gold to 10 and the one of one black Prisms always, and probably the, whatever you have out of 25, you'll have a 49. But you'll also have a bunch that are green and yellow that aren't numbered, or, you'll have a bunch of different colors, zebras, elephants, whatever, camels, they do camel, whatever else they decide to put in there. Will come in there. And we just kind of decide how many we think it's going to take to deliver that value of that SRP.
Got it.
And then with a program that's as big as some of the Optichrome programs like Optic or Prism or Mosaic, we have retail SKUs also. And we want people to go, if they don't have a card, they want cards of their own too. So we'll put exclusive substrates in those also that you can only get in the retail. So it takes a lot of different so if you want to go build a rainbow of Steph Curry in basketball, you might end up with 40 cards or 45 cards because there's that many parallels.
Sure. So you figure out, you begin with how much you need, and then you reverse engineer it into all the different. Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was Eminence? Will there ever be an Eminence basketball?
This year.
This year?
Yeah.
You promise?
Promise. It'll be our third one in basketball.
Oh, you guys.
It'll be our
I thought
third.
For some reason, we didn't do Eminence basketball.
No, it'll be our third Eminence. But we did a Kobe Eminence back in 2016, and then we did a regular Eminence in the 1920 Zion. Zion and Jaws rookie year. We did.
That's
Eminence.
right.
And we're doing Eminence this year too, and hopefully it'll be out between Christmas and New Year's is kind of the time now, but we'll see with the way the production schedule is, what's going to happen. But we'll keep everybody informed of when it's going to be out. But there's certainly one this year.
What is it like doing that product?
It's scary. It's scary because
all the stakes are so high.
You know where you're starting, and you cannot. There's no room for error in ones that are that big. You're also relying on the athletes to sign their stuff.
Right.
And
because it's all hard signed.
All of it's on card. Yeah. All of it's very limited. It's just the top players. It's the best that we have.
Yeah.
And so that's a scary one to do. And I remember and Keith has been on the show a couple times with you. I know he's one of the basketball brand managers.
Yeah.
The first time that we were asked about Flawless, and it was kind of brought into us and explained what they needed, we kind of looked at each other and said, what? 10 cards for, and back then the SRP was $1,250. We're going, 10 cards, 12, and we were just going, I don't know how we're going to do that. What are we going to, we're going to put like real shoes in it?
Right, full shoe.
Full shoe in it. What are we going to do to get that value?
Yeah.
You know, so it was, you know, next time you have Keith on, ask him about the first time he sat down to whiteboard Flawless.
Will do.
Because it's he has some great stories about that, but it kind of takes your breath for a second. You kind of gather yourself and go, we can do this, and you just sit down and figure it out.
I know you guys personally hand pack out Flawless. Is it the same for Eminence? Okay.
Yeah, Flawless and Eminence are always the teams show up, and it's the whole product development team. It's just not the basketball team. The whole product and it's the whole product development team shows up for football to pack out the football or the baseball or whoever. If soccer does Flawless and Eminence, so whoever's doing it, you know, it's a several day process. So to keep people in the office and keep stuff moving, we split the teams up and we go out and take our day or two to go do the pack out. But yeah, we pack out every pack of that.
I think I love that. Well, I mean, I'm Tracy Hackler. I used to do a show called Pack Geek, and Tracy was a guest on the show, and we got to open my first briefcase of Flawless. Obviously, I don't get to open that very often. Even working here, it's very rare. Naturally, there isn't a lot of it out there. But it's such a fun experience to open a briefcase of anything that high-end or a box of Eminence, which I've not done. But it's such an experience, and it makes it even cooler to know that the team that, you know, created this product saw it all the way into the pack out and made sure all of those briefcases are distributed, you know, in a fair manner and all set out the way it should be. And, you know, I would imagine you eliminate a lot of potential for error by you guys being the ones in there and doing all that work.
Well, very careful when we're packing it out to make sure we don't duplicate any player.
Right.
You should never get too of anybody in your box.
Sure.
We don't even like to get two of the same team in the box because of the box breakers and the case breakers and all that. So, you know, we try to avoid all that, but, you know, that's kind of where we end. You know, after we've packed the suitcase and handed over to the shipping team,
then
we're done.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, people go, do you pack all the good ones?
No, I see what you
we don't. We just pack them and then
it gets shipped out. Well, okay, so how did you end up on the basketball team?
I ended up on the basketball team because when we moved from, when Panini bought Donruss in 2009, they bought it because they just shockingly got the basketball license away from Topps and Upper Deck. And it was a big surprise in the hobby.
2009, right?
2009. And they realized they didn't know how to do it when they got it. And they had a plan, and they thought, I don't like that. They went and came and bought Donruss and was going to use the product development team. And there wasn't a basketball team, so the question was asked one day, anybody want to be on the basketball team? And I said, yeah, I will. So that's how I got on the basketball team.
No kidding. You were just guinea pig, essentially, at the time?
Yeah.
You're a brave man, but I'm happy you did.
You know, it was a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd been on the football team, and I'd been on the basketball, or the baseball team, and I thought, well, you know, I was a huge baseball card. I collected baseball my whole life.
Right.
So I was very comfortable on both the basketball, or both the baseball and the football team. But I thought, you know, basketball, I can do that. So yeah, and I've been there the whole time. I've been with every release we've had. So yeah.
That's so cool. And you are, in your personal collection, you are a big set builder, correct?
Correct.
Which is so appropriate for a guy that works in product development.
Sure.
I mean, you couldn't have a better collecting focus for your personal collection than building sets. Are you primarily vintage? Is that right?
I'm primarily vintage.
Okay, cool.
I have stuff that goes, back to the 30s and 40s now, but I've been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
And so, fortunately, I was able to get a lot of the really expensive cards 45 years ago when they weren't that expensive.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, it's been something I'll never quit doing. I'll always collect.
Did you ever collect any unopened product?
Sure.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my very worst story ever involves it. It was I had a card shop in Ardmore, Oklahoma in 1986, 7, and 8 for 3 years.
Oh, you ran it?
I ran it.
Okay,
it was my card shop.
Got it.
And I had it not to sell cards. I had it because people would bring stuff in for me to buy.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that.
Basically why I did it. And I was in Revco one day, just had stopped in Revco, and I thought, whoa, those are basketball cards. Don't remember seeing that. And had basketball cards in 5 years. You know, I thought, wow, they're doing basketball cards again. So I was looking at them. I see the store manager kind of trot over to me, and they were like 79 cents a pack or something.
Oh my gosh.
He goes, hey, I see you're looking at those basketball cards. He goes, you interested in buying them? And I go, well, I don't know, maybe. He goes, I'll make you a deal if you buy all I have. And I said,
like half of their inventory?
I said, this is the Revco guy,
right?
Just the store manager.
Sure.
I said, well, how many do you have? He goes, I have 120 boxes.
Oh my!
I said, you have 120 boxes of this. I said, okay, well, what's the deal? He goes, I'll give them to you for $8 a box. And now, what's weird about this story is I just gotten married in 1985, so I've been married a little over a year, and Lisa and I had just gotten our first credit card. And emergencies only.
Sure.
We had no money. You know, just don't do anything dumb with it. Okay. I thought, how am I going to come up with $8 times 120? That's $960. So I'll take it. Got out that credit card that I wasn't supposed to put anything on, handed it to the guy, and bought 120 boxes of 1986 Fleer.
So you got them?
No, I don't have them anymore.
No, but you bought them at the time.
100%. So yeah, I had 120 boxes of 1986 Fleer that I sold through my card shop over the next 3 years. Nobody wanted Michael Jordan rookie cards. You could sell Larry Bird for $1, and you could sell Magic Johnson for $1. You couldn't sell Barkley. You couldn't sell Olajuwon. You couldn't sell Jordan.
Oh my gosh! I
had sets in my case for $18 forever. Because you got three and a half sets out of a box.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and
well, so I've heard so many stories, and I remember because I started collecting heavily in 1985. That was a year when I was going in the card shop, our neighborhood card shop, off of 21st and Gage.
Yeah.
There's a card shop there next to a barber shop, and we would go in there by 1985 tops. I remember when they got basketball, and everyone was kind of like, you know, move that to side. Where's the baseball and football even? And I remember they had him in the case, and I remember, like, Michael Jordan at the time. You heard his name. He was a big deal in NBA, but no one cared about his basketball card. And I've heard so many stories about people not being able to give those boxes or packs away.
True
and
story.
like literally, but you bought 120 boxes?
I did.
Oh my gosh, David, that is crazy.
It's like seriously like $12 million now.
At least.
Yeah, I don't have any of them. Didn't make near $12 million.
Oh my gosh.
Still working here, so obviously I don't have $12 million. Yeah,
that is a wild story. So you broke a bunch of boxes and made sets. Mm-hmm. And oh man, that is so wild.
I did.
And you didn't happen to, I found some boxes from the old shop, and I kept one of these 86 Fleer basketball.
Well, I wished I was smart enough to do that. And if I did, I don't know where I put them because I've never found those boxes. No, I haven't stumbled across those yet. I don't think I have any anymore.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So did you have any crazy collections walk into your shop during those 3 years?
A couple. I mean, it's a little town. Ardmore's a town of 40,000 people in southern Oklahoma, and I don't really remember any in the shop. What I do know is I worked at the newspaper in Ardmore at the time, and we printed a newspaper from Lone Grove, Oklahoma, which was like 10 miles away. It was just a weekly newspaper, and they had free classified ads. And I put an ad in that newspaper for free saying, buying baseball cards and my phone number. That's all it had.
Your home number?
My home number. One Sunday night, my phone rings. I answer it, and he goes, "Hey, are you the guy with the ad saying you buy baseball cards?" I said, "I am." He goes, "You want to buy some?" And I said, "Well, probably. What do you have?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, "My grandfather just died, and I drove down and I cleaned out his house, and he had some, and I'm looking to sell them." I said, "Okay." He goes, "I'm leaving town tomorrow. Can you meet me in an hour at the mall?"
Oh my gosh.
I said, "I can."
She's gonna pack a car up?
Yeah, and he goes, "Okay." He goes, "I'll be in a red truck." I said, "Okay, I'll find you." He goes, "Okay." So I get my stuff, and the whole time, my wife's going, "He's gonna hit you in the head."
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get robbed. Yeah.
You're getting robbed. And I said, "Well, maybe it's worth it if he's got baseball cards." I don't know. So I went out there, and sure enough, it was a guy a little younger than me, and his grandfather had passed, and he was there cleaning out his house. and he gets out of his truck, and what I saw was this first aid kit from the 1930s. It was just massive and had a great big red cross on the top of it.
Okay.
And he set it on the hood of my car and opened it, and out flowed Goudies.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm trying to stop him
Oh
from
my
going
gosh.
down. No.
So he didn't know anything about
He
these
had
guys.
no idea what he had.
Wow.
And I remember right there were like 7 Ruths and 6 or 7 Gehrigs. It was seriously 3 or 4, 500, 33, 34 Goudies.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, wow. And he goes, do you want to buy them? I said, well, I do, but I can't afford them. And I said, you're going to have to take these somewhere else. I go, you've got a gold mine. And he ended up taking them to my buddy in Oklahoma City who sold them for him. And I think he got like $80,000 or something.
And back then,
this was in 1988, 89.
That's a huge buy.
It made the Sports Collector's Digest.
Yeah.
It was a find, Yeah.
Oh my
And it was
gosh.
just, and just to see those just go down the hood of my car.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, so you've been in some crazy once in a lifetime situations
probably
multiple times during your life,
yeah,
where you've had opportunity to buy some crazy cards. Do you have a prized collectible in your collection, card or otherwise?
Probably not more than anything. I guess I just like the satisfaction of just completing sets.
It is a great feeling.
And I've worked on some of these sets for 50 years. They're not complete yet. So,
no kidding.
Yeah.
What's the hardest set you had?
Well, I still need one card for my 60s. I still have the Seaver rookie, and it's because all my other 67s are in pretty good shape, and I just haven't had the urgent need to go spend that much money to get a rookie that matches the rest of the set.
Are you talking like near mint or maybe?
Yeah, it's nice. They're nice.
All right. Cool.
Probably 7s, 8s, maybe.
But you collect them raw, or do you get them graded?
No. I don't. All my stuff is raw. It's always been.
I mean, you drop a fortune grading sets.
You can.
I've done.
But I don't blame people
before.
for doing it because you can certainly. It's certainly the best way to sell your stuff.
It is, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, PSA has the registry, which I've done before with some graded sets. Now, I didn't grade anything that was like 600 cards, but smaller like basketball type sets or even some miscellaneous sports sets that were 100 or less. Kind of fun to have all those graded and be able to put them in there, and the little competition aspect. But I can't blame you for older top sets, certainly, because they're big sets. It would cost you probably more than you have in the set just getting them all graded.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite set that we produce at Panini?
Probably the one that's I don't know if it's my favorites, but the one that I enjoy building the most. I don't know if it's the one I would enjoy collecting the most, but the one I enjoy building the most is National Treasures.
Okay.
And the reason it's National Treasures is because that was one of the first things that Donruss did that really made a difference in the industry.
Okay.
And it started in 2004 and 2005, and Ben Eklar and I were the first two to really work on building that set for baseball.
Gotcha.
And so we've transferred that over, and we've stayed very true to the original tenets with the rookie cards numbered to 99 or less. And parallels, and so
I didn't know National Treasure started out as baseball.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. Start
And it was
out
a
as baseball.
Donruss.
It was a Donruss
property.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was playoff. Was it playoff?
Donruss playoff.
Okay, got it.
It was Leaf Donruss playoff.
Leaf Donruss playoff. That's right. Man, that's really cool.
Yeah. So maybe that one, but I mean, I enjoy working on all of them, and I really enjoy. I enjoy building brand new ones too that are just ideas in somebody's head or on a whiteboard somewhere, that you get to sit and look at and go, well, that's pretty cool. I'd collect that. I'd collect it more if it had this, or stuff like that. It's all what you like. But I mean, and I'm really proud of the brands we built for basketball. I think we have some really, really solid, great brands that have gone, and we've been able to take. And it's a good mixture of stuff from Panini and stuff from Donruss. So we've kind of been able to bring some history with us and add some new stuff to it. And it's just from like the elite sets, which were Donruss, to Optic, which was, Donruss,
Sure.
all this stuff, that we're always doing and always working on.
I have to tell you, one of my favorite sets, and you're probably involved in this, 92 Donruss Elite. I believe it was the first packed out autographs that were maybe in baseball cards at the time. Was that 92 Donruss, the Elite cards? Because
yeah, the signed Elite cards that were numbered to 10,000,
yeah,
and then
exactly.
they had the autograph with them.
Well, so like I PC George Brett and Cal Ripken. They're two guys that I've collected my entire life. The Cal Ripken one I love, and I will buy. I just continue to pick up copies when I see them at a fair price. But I got to tell you, for a card that's numbered at 10,000, it doesn't seem like there's 10,000 of them out there, because they are. If you went and tried to open boxes to find one of those, it'll take you like a week. Yeah, so
I don't know if that's more of a indictment of how many boxes there were, or if that's how tough the cards are.
I think they're tougher. I think it's deceptive when you see out of 10,000, you think, oh, they're plentiful. I don't feel like they are.
It's only 200 per state.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I think I have all 200 in Texas.
Well, we have a lot of, back in the 90s and even the early 2000s, there were a lot of cards numbered out of 5,000 and 2,500.
Yep.
Wow, that one's only to 1250, and now it's numbers you're kind of going, why'd you even number that, But that's probably one of the things that's changed the most is the serial numbering has come down so much, to where serial numbered cards now are wow, but there's also many more parallels than there were back then, so there's more versions of the same card. So, you kind of traded lower serial numbers for more versions.
True, got it.
Yeah.
So, over the years, I know I asked you just favorite set, which is tough because they're all like your babies, so you can't name a favorite kid, essentially. But I'll take National Treasures as an answer.
Okay.
Is there a favorite year and set, like 2018 Prism or anything like that you can think of that was like the most fun program you've worked on?
The years 2017, 18, 19, 20, those 3 years kind of in there would probably be them, because everything was moving at such a fast pace.
Yes.
And the dynamics of the market were so different that we're not going to be able to keep, it was a little like you're kind of breathless because you can't really keep up with all of it, you know.
Can't keep it on the shelves.
No. And I can remember, going to the National and standing there at the either the Donruss or the Panini booth and having somebody like walk up and go, wow, been waiting all year to do this. I saved my money all year long to buy this National Treasures box. This is my whole savings, and now I'm going to open it here in front of you. You kind of go, oh my gosh, I'm going to pass
That's
out.
A lot of pressure.
Man, I hope he likes what he got now. Please, whoever's in there, be whoever you just be your PC guy, please, because this pressure's crushing me.
Oh,
and that's really some of the nightmares that go through product developers' minds is when somebody goes, okay, here's your opportunity. I've saved all year long for this, and I just found this box over here, and I paid $250 over SRP for it, and you immediately go, oh no. But okay, let's open it, and you just open, you just put your fingers across and go, please hit whatever he's looking for.
But if you keep it in mind when you're building the product that guy will be opening a box at the National every year. That's like motivating factor.
This box is going to show back up in front of you. Make sure you built it to where you're going to be happy when it gets open.
Exactly. I love that. So speaking of product, on Tuesday we had the LeBron James Prism Gold Funko Pop. Have you seen those?
I have.
They're pretty cool. They are very cool. If you are a collector of basketball cards in general, you just like the NBA, that's something cool to get. And then on Thursday we did the LaMelo Ball. So we're releasing 2 a week. Next week is gonna be 2 different players. I don't remember who releases next week, but I think it's Luka is maybe one of them. So that's awesome. Are you a Mavericks fan?
Yeah. And those are cool cards too. The cards are cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. So it's essentially a blown up replica of the gold flashback Prism cards of each of these players. It's technically an art card, but it looks identical. It's just bigger. So For those of you who own those out of 10 flashbacks, I get it. We don't want to have more copies of those floating around. These will not be mistaken for your card. Okay, so then we also, this week, we released Elements Football, which is a blast to open. Immaculate Collegiate Football. We did Score Football, which has been around since I started collecting football. It's amazing how far Score has come from 1989 Score football. And then Prism Baseball, which is still a blast to open. I've said it on the show before, but I think you apply Prism to any sport or game in the world and people will open it and have fun just because they know this different substrates. They know, they kind of have an idea of what to expect from the program itself, and it's just
they know there's going to be a rainbow.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so how would you like to open some basketball cards?
Sure, certainly.
Right, let's do it.
Oh, man, I haven't got to do this in a while.
So these come out this week. I don't know that we'll have these on the site. This is the fast break. It's 2021-22 Optic Fast Break basketball. We had primarily football and baseball coming out this week, other than the Funko Pop. So I wanted to open some basketball with David for obvious reasons. So anything we should know about this particular release?
Built very similar to the Optic programs of the past.
Okay.
We stay pretty true to that. I mean, you'll find maybe one or two new inserts that are new, but
yeah.
I think the design team has knocked it out of the park with these insert designs, and it's this and Illusions are two of my favorite insert
Illusions.
designs for the year, and I just props to the design team.
Yes, indeed. Well, I wish you luck.
Same to you.
May you pull lots of gold, as we like to say on the show. I opened a box of this earlier just to see what it was all about. And we got it in, and I love Optic basketball. It's a really fun box break.
It is.
It is. It's quick. Fast break is multi-purpose with that name, but I don't know. I just really like it. I think you get at least one Prism per pack. I don't want to put anything out there, so I'll just say on average. But I want to say it's plentiful. Got a Jalen Green base card. Jalen Green, I've heard from a lot of people, he's not one of the top 2 or 3 from that class that get mentioned right away, at least not typically. It's usually your Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes. I've heard from many people, it could be the sleeper hit from that group.
In 2 or 3 years, he may be the first guy mentioned.
No kidding. All right. There you have it.
And there's the fast break substrate that we talk about.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right there, and that's the JT Thor rated rookie card.
Very nice. I like this insert, Stargazing, a lot. That's a KD.
Pulled one too. I got Curry.
There we go. Yeah. Heard of him. Okay, so this is a pink parallel out of 20. MPJ. What do you think about Michael Porter Jr.? Is he going to be the star that he could be?
I think he could be. He's going to have to stay healthy. He keeps having back issues.
Yeah,
which slows him down some.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are on that train and really, believe in that guy. So, he came up with Trae Young and a few other guys that have really panned out. Ooh, that's cool.
There's the Anthony Davis fast break parallel.
AD. So I got a really cool Luka. This is called Light It Up. Do you know anything about that insert set?
It just features some of the guys that are big time scorers usually, and it can go change the scoreboard quickly.
Yes, well, he can definitely do that. So we got Jalen Suggs. This is the fast break substrate. Another guy who, from that class, could end up being kind of a sleeper hit.
Great career at Gonzaga.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In college, he was a monster. Do you collect any of the newer athletes?
Yes, I do. I collect several. I collect all the basketball guys. And what's also cool about my job is I've got to meet every drafted NBA rookie since 2009.
Are you serious? Every one of them?
At the photo shoot, yes.
Okay.
Every year we do. They're all the drafted ones are there. So yeah, got to meet them all. And some of the kids are just the nicest guys you could ever imagine, and it's just a really cool perk of the job. And you can tell immediately if you're gonna have any issues with signing, and so it's kind of cool too. There's the All-Star.
So I'm always curious to know who is exceptionally cool, and maybe just an example, one or two people that were really cool, because you hear a lot of stories about who is difficult, but I always want to know like who is really cool, because nothing is better than meeting an athlete or a celebrity that you really appreciate their work or appreciate them as a player, and then they turn out to be a nice human being too.
And this is a crazy story, but the nicest kid that we've had since I've been doing it has been Steph Curry.
Really?
It's crazy. Of all of them. And he showed up and he was yes sir, no sir. Did exactly what you wanted to do. Did it 10 times if you needed to do it 10 times. Never questioned anything. And then Lonzo Ball.
Okay,
awesome. Sat there and signed every card we had for him without getting up. Would not leave until every card was signed.
Well, Steph Curry is like the dream player then. No wonder he does so much endorsement too. You can kind of tell who's difficult or maybe a little bit more complicated to work with by their endorsement deals, because
that's a great call. Great point.
Yeah,
this is a pretty cool card we did this year.
Oh,
this is our 75 years of the NBA.
Yes,
it's a it's a cut across card that you can find. You found actually due to a little bit of a error at the pack out.
We talked about this in the blog. It's okay. It's been out there.
A little bit of an error at the pack out. We put the optic cards in Prism and the Prism cards in Optic. So this is a Prism 75 years of the NBA card.
So the Optic was a preview and the Prism is a review.
Yes.
That's what. Okay, so this Elite Dominators, this is the fast break substrate for this, is Zach LaVine. Man, these are nice looking. I really like. I mean, I'm a sucker for gold, anything like every other collector, but we've got some cool new parallels that are just, my dream card right now is to track down a Luka Prism Tiger Stripe, because I didn't pick one of those up back when I could afford them early on. Obviously, they became unaffordable very quickly. But someday maybe
there's a silver Terrence Ross.
Maybe I'll be able to trade for one someday with some cards that I
red fast break Derrick Rose.
Nice. Ooh, we got a big one here.
Oh yeah.
Got the Cade Cunningham fast break. So I love that pose too. I want to say that is on the hobby box. Maybe is Cade on it, or is Scotty Barnes on there?
Cade is, yeah.
I think that picture's maybe on the hobby box.
This is LeBron.
Oh, there we go. Are we allowed to show that one? Okay. So we got to show him just because he is the king. LeBron James base card.
Another one of my favorite rookies.
All right. Oh yeah, Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey should be mentioned in any top 5 list from that rookie class, in my humble opinion.
Well, I agree. Tyrese Halliburton.
Here we go.
And then here's a reigning threes insert with Trae Young.
I love the reigning threes. So you are an OU fan. Are you OU basketball fan too?
OU basketball fan. Tough week.
You appreciate Trae Young, man.
Oh, heck yeah.
Corey Kispert, and that is the red out of 85. Well, you guys have had some serious athletes come out of OU.
Been very fortunate. Yeah, been very, very fortunate.
Much like Kansas, I'm always shocked at the recruiting states like Kansas and Oklahoma.
There's Lonzo in the fast break.
There we go. States like Oklahoma and Kansas are able to do when you're up against a Florida or a California or these New York, these states where
freaking Texas.
Texas. Oh, here we go. First auto, Wendell Carter Jr. This is a fast break parallel auto. Is it one auto per box?
Yes.
I think maybe it is. Okay, got it. Well, I'm sorry. I was hoping the guest would pull that. And we got a.
Oh, no. Well, I've got a box here.
Oh, yeah, you do. I did the same thing last time. For some reason, I'm putting us all in one box.
Here's the Elite Dominators insert.
So you can tell, and the last person I had on that did this sort of sorting was Tim Trout, and he said that's the way real brand managers sort. So there, he was right.
And then here's the fast break version of Light It Up, which is really cool.
Oh,
they look really good.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yes, I got one at the same time. So fast break, Light It Up. Donovan Mitchell, the Spider. All right, so no one has pulled any gold yet.
No.
That's okay. Oh, I saw you got a K too. Nice.
Yes.
Very
Good
nice.
face Cade, yes. And here's the stargazing LeBron.
Another Light It Up, Russell Westbrook.
So the favorite part of the set to me are the inserts, just because of the unique designs and how great they look. And how great all these sets turned out. Really happy with them.
So I've got to ask you something that I ask all of the Panini employees that I have in here.
Okay.
Regarding the 2018-19 Prism Black 1/1 Luka Doncic. Where do you think this card currently exists? It has not been made public yet. Do you believe it is in a box, in a case, collecting dust in some warehouse somewhere? Or do you think it's in some mega collector's collection who doesn't care about people knowing some of the cards they have, maybe doesn't have an Instagram account, and just will probably put it away until they move on from their collection at some point in time?
My hope is that it's in some 12-year-old's shoebox somewhere.
got mistakenly put aside?
Or he doesn't know. He just got some cards one day, pulled it, and it's there in his shoebox for him to find someday. If I was betting where it was, my guess would be, I think 3 years later, it's probably going to be in somebody's collection.
Okay. You think it'll surface in like the next 3 years?
It depends. I mean, nobody, I wouldn't even have a really good guess of what that would sell for at all.
I think that's a $4 or $5 million card.
It could be. I mean, I think it's certainly seven figures.
Yeah.
We'll see it eventually.
Yeah. I hope so. I just want to see that. I want to see that card, and I just want it. I want to see the buzz that is around a card like that.
Right.
And it's just, I also kind of love that it hasn't been pulled, because the lure is just still there, and now it's even more legendary maybe than if it were pulled.
If you happen to have one of those 1819 boxes,
you could be sitting on it.
You could have it in that. You could. So careful selling it.
Exactly. Well, I wonder. Do you think there's a lot of that product remaining sealed? Because obviously with breakers, like we're blowing through cases like never before. But there are still some collectors. There are people that buy every year of Prism and put it away.
I think there's certainly a little put up. I don't think it's a lot.
Yeah.
No, I think most of it certainly by now has been opened and either sent for grading or put in notebooks or collections or holders or however people choose to collect it. But but there probably are, probably a few boxes left that aren't opened.
Yeah.
And, good for those people.
well, to your point, it could very well have been opened in a pack and the person not quite understand the magnitude of that black border, or not realize, it said 1/1, or just maybe they were just blowing through them too fast. It was stuck to the back of a card, and they went right by it. Like, who knows? But did you hear the story? And we posted this on social media. But the World Cup stickers are a big deal.
I saw that.
And there are black 1/1s in the World Cup stickers. Now there are 607 stickers, I believe that's the correct number, in that collection. So you have 607 1/1s out there that are being released in the U.S. product. Now, those big players are going to. That's a big deal. If you were to find a Messi or a Ronaldo or an Mbappe of a 1/1, like that's easily, it's probably a 5-figure card if I had to guess. Yeah, sticker. Thank you.
Yeah,
sticker. But we've been joking that so many kids are collecting this, including my own son. They go through sticker packs pretty fast. They put them in their album, and that's that. Well, somebody, apparently a dad, was opening up some stickers with his son and came back, and one of the top players, I'm forgetting his name, he plays on the Korea team, I believe, his 1-of-1 was stuck in their album. and then, you know, I'm sure his son, and I love it because, you know, it's an example of collecting over investing, certainly, but I'm sure they wish they had a retake on that.
So
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I totally get what the young man was doing, because that's where it goes. It's right there in the album.
Absolutely. Yeah, they probably needed that one, and man, but yeah. So I have a feeling there's going to be more of that. I don't think that'll be an isolated incident with that particular set, just because of the nature of how that album works. Like, people love the chase of filling up those albums. I think it's, since I've been here, that's one of the most popular programs I've seen. You know, internationally, by far the most popular, but you know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can go back and you can still find on eBay some of the original Panini soccer albums from like 68,
oh,
69.
Really? Yeah.
You know, 68, 72. I don't remember exactly the years that it was.
Yeah.
But some of those are amazing to go back and look at. And just look at how pristine those are, and how those are truly hardcore collectors that you know, they have. I've seen videos in stores in Italy that will have 200 or 300 people in there at once trading.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the community built around that program. You know,
it is certainly that, for sure.
Well, David, thank you for sharing your time with us today. This has been so fun.
Thank you. I enjoyed it a lot. Well, keep collecting. Everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything are you on social media? Anything you want to plug?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not on social media at all.
All right. Yeah. So just buy Panini basketball products.
That's the best way to get to my heart right there. Is to just keep collecting Panini stuff. Yeah.
Well, from one Topeka native to another, I really appreciate you, David,
much.
and everything you do, and everything you do for the hobby. And you know, we're really lucky to have you. And thank you again for your time today.
Sure.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
We will see you next time.